Hey guys, PrinceofMacedon here. I'm doing this commentary video for Rome Total War, and this would be an online multiplayer battle, and I created this scenario myself. It's supposed to be a recreation of the Siege of Erisane, but because we're all humans here, this battle will not follow the actual course of events. This is us leading our own troops, but it's themed off the Siege of Erisane, which happened during the Lusitanian Wars. But basically, it pit two commanders against each other. In command of the Lusitanians was Viriathus, and that's who I will represent in this battle. That's me, Viriathus. And my opponents are Acke and Zimnos. Acke commands the Roman contingent, and that represents the army of Servilianus. And then the Numidians are commanded by Zimnos, and I just gave them one Numidian elephant, because these Numidians did promise the Romans some support, and they offered it in terms of elephants and about 300 Numidian cav. So, let me show you the armies really quick, and then I'll give you some backstory, and then I'll try to switch back and forth between backstory, of the actual historical events, and also what's happening between us humans here, the actual battle that's happening right now before you guys. So here's my army. The Siege of Erisane, this happened when the Romans were laying siege to many Lusitanian towns. And they happened to come across this town, Erisane. And inside Erisane, we're just a bunch of garrison troops. And I'm going to represent those garrison troops with town militia and some skirmishers. But what happened was, during the night, Viriathus snuck in with his own contingent of troops. They were on the run from Servilianus. But Viriathus had about 5,000, 6,000 troops, but he was able to sneak a huge portion of them into this town during the night, because the Romans, they were not keeping a very tight grip around this town, so that allowed Viriathus to sneak in during the night. But let me talk about the actual battle right now. I mean the one that's happening right now, not the historical battle. This is the Roman army here. This is a Servilianus Roman contingent here. A lot of these Roman armies that came in, they were like raw recruits. They weren't trained until they got there. So that'll explain their upgrades. Like another Roman commander, what's his face? Aemilianus. Not the same one who fought in the Macedonian Wars, but his son. He knew his men weren't trained for combat, so he took his time and he had his men trained during their encampment, which had some very negative effects on the war against the Lusitanians, and against the Celtiberians in general. So let me talk about this battle happening right now. I saw that the Numidian put his elephants right there, so I purposely detached this tactical squad here, this tactical team of town militia and skirmishers, in the event that his elephants decided to break in here. But I saw his elephants going in this way, so I assumed that he was going to link up with the Romans over here. So when I saw that happening, I decided to bring back my tactical diversionary squad back to my main body, which is back over here. And here's Viriathus, by the way, wearing his blue outfit. Boom. But yeah, this is when I see these elephants. They're starting to lay siege themselves. I mean, they want to break into this wooden wall here. See that? And the Romans are already breaking in over here with their battering rams. But when I see the elephants here by themselves, trying to get in by themselves, that's when I peel off my tactical squads again. And I'm like, hey, he wants to come in by himself with those elephants who cost over 2,000 denarii? Heck yeah, bring it on. If I can take those out, then the Romans will have a much lesser chance of taking me down here. So I'm rushing all these guys in, trying to get over there before his elephants break through. So this wall's already 41% broken. Look at that. Boom. Reason why I didn't give this guy Numidian cav is because that would have been too much cav for this type of army. Because the Lusitanians would have had a stronger cav contingent than the Romans. So I wanted their cav to be, fairly equal in terms of numbers. but the Lusitanians would have had better quality cav. Anyways, this wall is now 77%, but here, I'm able to get my guys there on time. You can see the Romans broke through over on this side. See that? So, I don't care about them. Right now, I care about the elephants. As I said, if I can take the elephants out now, I won't have to worry about them later. So look, just at the right time, my town militia forms this little choke point right here. This little bottleneck. Keep in mind, these are still town militia, regardless of how many upgrades they have. And they're about to face these dreaded mercenary war elephants of Numidia. So you get these elephants thrashing my garrison here. They just kind of toss them around like a mosh pot. Party guys, party time! And the big worry right now is that this Roman guy, Acke, is sending in some troops to assist his ally, his Numidian ally, even though his Numidian ally decided to come in like Rambo, not wanting to team up with his Roman comrade.
The enemy have broken through our walls.
So yeah, I got my town militia surrounding these elephants, just try to scare them away with a show of force and numbers. And I got my skirmishers ready to hack these war elephants down, and that's when these guys run amok. And that was a godsend, because these guys are almost here. See the Romans coming in to assist the elephants, but he sees the elephants are dying now, so he's gonna run away from them. And I'm gonna run away too, because these elephants are running amok, which means they're a danger to everybody. And honestly, I'd rather keep these elephants alive than dead, because those elephants might potentially attack the Romans too. So I'm just gonna run back out of here. I'm gonna take this this route up this road here, so I can link up with the main body, led by Viriathus here. And this is when the Romans start swarming in this side. So who was Viriathus? Well, Viriathus was one of the greatest guerrilla commanders of all time, and he is definitely a celebrated hero in Portugal today, and that's where Lusitania was located for the most part. And oh, there goes the Numidian dude. He's dead.
Slain by your brave warriors.
But Viriathus, he faced a lot of Roman treachery. Like when the Romans came in, they sent in Galba. Galba came in trying to settle this this border war with Lusitanians, and he tricks the Lusitanians into dropping their weapons, and he tells them, hey, you know, we're friends. I'm gonna resettle you guys. I want you guys to separate into 3 different groups. Put down your weapons, and I'll resettle you into more fertile lands. And the Lusitanians are actually taken by this trick. So the Romans come in, and they slaughter these unarmed Lusitanians. I mean, it's just Roman treachery. This is not the kind of like Roman behavior you see when they fought against the Macedonians in the Macedonian Wars. And by the way, this Lusitanian War happened a little after the Macedonian Wars, not too much longer. Like the Third Macedonian War ended in 168 BC, and then the Fourth Macedonian War started in 150 BC. And the Lusitanian War happened around 155 to 139 BC. So, around the same time period, but definitely the conduct of war was so different. Like, I guess the Macedonians, who I guess were considered more civilized by Roman standards, you know, they treated with more civility. Anyways, back to this battle. This guy's coming into skirmish with his Velites, or Velites. Sorry, my throat's dry. I don't want him to skirmish with my guys. I want to save my ammunition for his Principe. So I rush in with my general unit, led by Viriathus, and I pounce on those Velites. But this guy does the Roman thing. He comes right back. He puts his Velites right back into the heat of combat. And unfortunately, I left my javelins on, so my Scutarii wasted their javelins on those Velites. Not what I wanted, but I'm going to come back with my general unit again and just thrash those Velites. Hopefully they run away and get the message. But no, this guy's Roman. He's stubborn. He's going to come right back. So here's what's happening here. This guy's keeping reserves. Another good trait of typical Roman commanders is to keep reserves. Pretty standard tactics by Roman standards. Anyways, I have the Scutarii ready to deal with whatever heavy troops this guy might send in. So here comes the Hastati. And I've got more skirmishers back here just harassing these guys with javelins. Now this guy's gonna toss in his own javelins at me. And that's when I decided to rush down. Oh, I need some water. Look at that, with the first little rush there, those guys break. I caught them toss their javelin and they just broke. That was pretty awesome. So now I'm on to the next line of Hastati. And the Scutarii unit's on a roll. They're down to 75 men, but they are kicking some serious butt right now. I've got these Romans on a slope disadvantage here. I'm gonna use the terrain to my advantage. My goodness, that stupid tree keeps getting in my way. But here's just the situation. This guy is now sending in his equites. He's gonna skirt around my front line here. And I'm just bringing down all my troops to pour down on his second line of Hastati. And this guy's bringing up his equites here to attack me from my other side. He wants to hammer and emil assault me. But I got my general right here ready for it. See this? I'm gonna intercept his equites here. Well, anytime now, General. There you go. It's gonna keep them away from my back line. And my guys are just running right down this hill here and just slaughtering these Romans before them. So I beat back this first unit of equites here. See this? They run away. And so the second unit, led by their general, runs away too. He does not want to lose his general right now. That's Servilianus right there, with the blue cloak. He's gonna save his general. He needs him for the morale. But yeah, the Romans are pushing up here with a new line of Triarii, pushing my guys back a little bit. My first line of Scutarii are down to 42 men. It hangs in the balance as to who's gonna win this fight. But I got these skirmishers right behind my guys. Sorry, my Scutarii right behind them. These guys are ready to assist the front line when need be. During this time, I still have my guys back here. This is my tactical squad that took down his elephants. I'm gonna bring him back to the town square as a reserve here. I like keeping my options open. I break the Triarii. And so now this Scutarii unit right here, they've done all the combat so far, all the hand-to-hand combat. They're down to, what, 29 men, and they're tired. But they have gained experience though. Look at all these mini flags. Those represent the upgrades. They are experienced. They are now my veteran units. But I don't want to waste them anymore. I'm going to retreat them back to the town square. You know, they've done their duty for Viriathus, so I'm going to bring them back, let them rest, and let my next line of Scutarii fight. I'm going to bring up more skirmishers ready to absorb the next line of Romans here. Here comes some more Hastati. And this guy is keeping his Principes back in reserve. Yeah, this guy's definitely keeping his reserve options ready. So back to Viriathus, the historical background. Well, hold on, let me take down these equites first. This guy's gonna rush into my line of skirmishers here, and I'm gonna retreat my skirmishers. I don't want to lose them right now. So I'm just gonna pull them back. Well,
Enemy warlord shows
I guess not.
worth.
I forgot.
Nothing. Any of our
My guys
warriors
actually
would
managed
die
to
rather
hold the
than
line
run.
against those equites. Roman cav wasn't that great, by the way. So my skirmishers backed up with these town militia and Scutarii, beat back his general. So flush with success, I'm gonna push forward here. I want to skirmish with those guys and waste their javelins, but he's gonna rush forward here. Sorry, this is what I meant. Now my guys are gonna retreat. There we go. I'm gonna rush forward with my cav. That's my general's bodyguard. I catch those Romans snapping. Bash him down with shock tactics. And by the way, the Roman general did stop routing. He's back here now. Hurrah! Don't worry, I'll go back to the actual historical events in a minute. I just want to show you this battle. I don't want you guys to miss anything. But right now, it's definitely not following the actual flow of events. My front line of Scutarii are getting hammered from all sides, so I bring up some town militia. And this is when I take my tactical squad. I'm going to start marching them out this way. Basically, I want to take this route you can see where my round shields are going. They're taking this route here. I want to come around all the way around here so I can hit these Romans where it's soft. Even though he still has reserves back here, I'm going to keep my guys ready, because when he does move these guys out of reserve, I can pounce. But yeah, here we are having some combat. Now the terrain's even, so my guys aren't faring as well as they were on the hill advantage here. So now it's just a big meat grinder. And he still has these, some of these Principes back here. It's like half of them. So look, my town militia is getting hammered here. Actually says my guys are winning. For some reason this guy pulls back his Principes here, and he rushes in more Principes. Not sure why he did that. I guess he wanted to keep his guys fresh, but they were only warmed up though. Oh yeah, this is what he does. He moves him over to the side here. He's gonna try to flank me, but that's why I kept my reserves back here. I got my general in reserve. So this guy is gonna try to wrap around my infantry line. Here's an overhead. My round shields are here now, see this? They're in position. And the rest of my guys are still getting into position here. They're taking a slow course there. Okay, I lost some Scutaria and I lost some town militia. This one I rushed in my general to stop these guys from breaking through and hacking my guys from behind. I also route this unit of Hastati. So now it's 50-50 right now. And here I'm going to rush in some town militia to stem this Roman incursion. I'm going to pull back my general. I don't want to lose my general, that would be bad. Especially using these barbarian troops, that would be really bad. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so lots of ruckus happening, of course. This guy's tossing his javelins at my general here. He takes one of my guys down, one of my companions there. But yeah, as for the actual backstory of Viriathus eventually led his men. Like, he was just a little shepherd fighting for his country, but eventually he was elected to lead his men. And he beat back all these different Roman commanders and their different armies. He beat back Vitius first, slaughtered about 4,000 out of 10,000 of his men, killed Vitius himself. He also took down some Celtiberians who were allied with Rome. And then he took down more Roman commanders. There was Plautius, kicked his butt. Aemilianus, who did a little better. But because of his hesitance in fighting the Lusitanians, that led to the Numantine Wars. Because the Numantines were very much encouraged by the Roman passiveness. And then Viriathus took down Pompeius. Then he took down Unamanus. He was taking them down left and right. And Viriathus' favorite tactic was to basically retreat in the face of superior numbers, but then he would have a prepared ambush ready for the Romans. And that's how he always got these Romans. Against Pompeius, he retreated, but when he saw Pompeius building his camp, that's when Viriathus turned back and slaughtered these Romans. And when Servilianus came with his bigger army, this is when the Romans were taking them more seriously. Oh, there we killed Servilianus. Kind of funny. But yeah, I lost tons of my guys back here. See this? All I have left, I have my general left. I've got these depleted town militia. I've got these Scutarii. These are my veterans from the beginning of the battle who took down 3 or so Hastati. They're warmed up now, but they're only at 29 men. I'm still marching these guys this way. I probably could have just marched them back the other way. And I got my round shields here. Took down his general with him. Took down his Viriathus. Now he's down to 3 Principes. But yeah, Servilianus comes in. He drives back the Lusitanian armies. And he starts taking these towns. He's laying siege to them. And eventually comes to this town of Erisane. And that's when Viriathus sneaks in with a large contingent of troops. And he reinforces this garrison here. And that takes me to this current situation right now. Right now, I'm trying to just launch these cav assaults, trying to slow down his men, giving me time to get my army in position here. So now I have my town militia reinforced by my veteran Scutari, and I take down this first line of Principes. So now this guy's down to 2 units of Principes, and I got my round shields back here, but I can't charge just yet because this guy's keeping these Principes in reserve. If I charge now, I'd probably lose my round shields, so I'm gonna bide my time. See, his Principes are already facing me, so I can't commit to this charge. I'm gonna retreat here. It just costing me too many horses. That's why I said I'm not gonna commit to the charge. Not until he commits these troops to an infantry fight. And after this fight, I'll tell you how this battle progressed, the historical battle, and I'll tell you the outcome of Viriathus' campaign against the Romans too. As for now, let's concentrate on this battle. I've got these Principes down here. My guys are losing though. They're down to like 15 men. These are my veteran Scutarii. So I'm throwing everything I have into this mix, just trying to stem this Roman incursion here. Got my general back here, trying to inspire his men. And this is when he decides to bring up his Principes a little more. So I'm going to threaten to charge him again. But he saw me coming, so he turned his guys back in time. So he kills more of my horses here. My guys are down to 27 horses now. So I'm going to run out. But during that time, these guys were isolated. See that? And they started to panic because these guys were too far. So they felt, you know, that they were outnumbered, and they break. So now I have these Romans surrounded here, and I got my general coming down from this road here. This is Viriathus, and we smack these Romans from all sides.
Victories like this go only to the best.
So once again, the siege of Erisane is won by the Lusitanians, but this is not the way the battle actually progressed. In the actual battle, the Romans were outside the city of Erisane, and inside the city was Viriathus with his reinforcements. So he came there during the night because the Romans, they did not secure this town very well. So he snuck in during the night. The next day he sees these Romans building this trench around the city, and he decides to sally out with all the troops, all the garrison troops, all of his own troops, and he breaks these Romans. And the Romans, they are panicking. They are running all the way back to wherever they can. But unfortunately, they run back into a fortified position that Viriathus had prepared already. So now he has these Romans trapped like dogs. This is the army of Servilianus, all 16,000 of his troops, all 1,600 of his cav, all of the Numidian allies are there too. And he has the opportunity to just butcher these Romans to the last man. There's nothing these Romans can do about it. But what does he do? Viriathus is thinking long run. He says, hey, you know what? Maybe we can seek peace with these guys. So instead of killing them, you know, instead of making these Romans even more pissed off than they already were, he decides to let these Romans go on the condition that they leave Lusitania and that they recognize Viriathus as a friend. So these guys go back to Rome, and they decide, hey, you know, let's grudgingly accept a ceasefire or some kind of peace agreement. You know, the Romans, you know how the Romans are. They do not, you know, this kind of thing does not sit well with Romans. They hold grudges forever. Like, they will just keep coming back and back. So the Romans send in this new governor, Capo. And Capo is not a very nice guy if you're a barbarian. So this guy is constantly trying to provoke Viriathus into a fight. He wants to renew warfare with the Lusitanians, but he wants the Lusitanians to make the first move. So he's constantly trying to provoke these guys. Viriathus has not taken the bait, but eventually one of Viriathus' subordinates decides, you know, enough is enough. We are going to fight these Romans again. So warfare is renewed between the Romans and Lusitanians. And on campaign, Viriathus decides that, hey, you know what? Maybe peace is still achievable. So he sends 3 of his companions. They are Adox, Detalco, and Minoris. He sends them to the Roman camp of Capio, and he wants, you know, he wants peace. He doesn't want to keep fighting these guys because he's already destroyed all these other Roman armies. He thinks that peace is, you know, on the horizon. And so his 3 companions enter the camp of Capio, and they see how rich and how wealthy these Romans are. And Capio says to this Lusitanian team of ambassadors. He says, hey, you know what? All of this wealth and all of this comfort can be yours if you kill Viriathus. And these guys must not like Viriathus very much, because these guys go back and they see Viriathus sleeping in his armor. Yeah, that's right. This guy's a badass. Viriathus does sleep in his armor. But yeah, they decide to cut his throat open. That's where the armor is not located. They cut his throat open, they kill Viriathus, and they go back to the Roman camp, hoping to get their rewards. But Caepio says, hey, you know what, guys? I never encourage anybody to kill their own leader. You guys get nothing for this. So these guys go back penniless. Viriathus is dead, and what happens is the Lusitanians end up losing the war. They get resettled, and now there's peace in these lands. And not a very good way to end, to end your heroic efforts, getting killed by your own men like that. And yeah, what I like about this, the wars, the Roman wars in Hispania, is that it was not the same thing as the wars in Macedonia, because those wars were more civilized, because the Macedonians, they like to fight in open combat, just like the Romans, and their culture was something that the Romans admired. But when the Romans went into Hispania, they met these Celtiberians, these Numantines, the Lusitanians. They did not like them. They wanted to civilize them. And they used treachery wherever possible, and it was not a very just war. I mean, they were killing civilians left and right. They were using all kinds of treachery. You guys already heard about how Viriathus was killed. You've already heard about the tactics of Galba, how he lured these unarmed Lusitanians into a peace talks, but he just turned around and slaughtered them. So that's the kind of war that the Romans fought in this part of the world. And this all happened around the same time as, the Fourth Macedonian War. So it was quite the contrast from what the Romans were facing in Macedon. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this historical battle. Hope you enjoyed the historical tidbits. And I will say good game to Acke and Zimnos. Thank you for participating in this historical setup.